First of all, I was.
That's why he's a dang. He's a dang.
He's a dang. My love for the game.
Oh man.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode of Balls in Your Face, the podcast. We're super excited to start this show. We have conversations just like this without a camera, so we decided to put one in front of us. We're going to talk about sports, we're going to talk about jokes, we're just going to have fun with it. So first things first, my name is Christian Rivera. I'm going to be your host of the show.
My name's Azil.
Y'all already know it's Josh.
And we're just going to have fun with the show, and we're gonna talk about sports, and yeah, let's get right into it. First things first, let's talk about why we love sports and how we got into the game.
So for me, I've been playing sports since I was younger. People look at me and they think I got that football build. I actually never played football. I started off playing basketball, and from there, my love for the game grew, and now here I am.
I was born in Rhode Island. I was playing baseball till about the second grade, and then I transitioned over to football. And the moment I transitioned to football, I dropped baseball, kept playing football, played it all the way to high school. And then from there, I just kept watching football, watching baseball, and also watching basketball. I'm a Giants fan. I'm also a Yankees fan. And I'm also a Chicago fan, but they never make it far in a year, so.
And for me, I've been playing baseball all my life. Ever since I could swing a bat, I was playing baseball. From Boston, so you know, gotta love the Red Sox, gotta love the Patriots, the Celtics, all that. And yeah, man, love baseball. Played it all my life, and still have love for the game. So let's dive right into the topics for today's episode. First things first, Celtics versus Heat. Heat are up 2-1 against the Celtics, and they just played Game 3 a few days ago. What are your thoughts on it?
Right now, if you guys didn't know, I'm a big Heat fan. You guys are going to hear how much I'm going to talk about this team, how much I'm going to talk about Bam. Right now, Game 3, I know Miami lost 117-106. I think Game 3 is going to be the turning point, and it's going to be for Miami. In Games 1, 2, and 3, you've seen Miami down double digits. Game 2, they were down 17 at half. Game 1, they were down 12 going into the fourth quarter. Game 3, they were in a double-digit deficit, and they couldn't bounce back from that. I think Jimmy Butler said a quote. He said, now we're really see what this team is made of. I think Game 4, they're going to bounce back. You could see Boston wanted it more. And, you know, reports came out from the locker room that Marcus Smart had a little altercation. Jaylen Brown was involved. And you could see that actually lit a fire into their team. And maybe Marcus Smart did that on purpose. But I think Miami came out flat. I think Game 4, that's where you're going to see them bounce back. And I think they're going to go up 3-1. I picked Miami in 6 to start. If they go up 3-1, it might be done in 5. And I know that's not a popular take because I know Boston is still really good. But I got Heat in 6.
For me, I got the Celtics in 6, and pretty much, just for me, the Celtics look like a better team, but they're definitely being outperformed by the Heat. I never saw the Heat as a true team. You can ask this man. He's been praising them from the beginning. Nobody expected them to be where they're. Nobody expected the Heat to be where they are. But for me, the Heat did come out flat, and the Celtics were just on their A game. But then towards the end, they kind of let their foot off the gas. But the main key factor for me is Jimmy Butler. If Jimmy Butler wants to stamp his name as a superstar, he needs to get some more buckets because 17 points in Game 3, that's not getting it done. Along with other players, obviously they have 6 players in double digits, which is a good effort all around. But you need your superstar to take advantage and put up some more points, and I don't feel like Jimmy Butler's capable of that.
I'll say this about the Heat. As Josh, the one name I've been saying all year is Bam. Bam Adebayo. First of all, you guys saw what he's capable Game 1. I really feel like that was his entrance into the basketball world. People really saw that block on Jason Tatum. But what I think people don't really know is Bam is probably the Heat's best player. And hear me out. I know Jimmy Butler, he came in and he really changed the culture. And he's probably the reason his leadership is why we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. But Bam this whole year, the jump that he's taken ever since Hassan cleared up his playing space, Bam has really opened up his game. And Josh mentioned that Jimmy Butler was unaggressive. I do think he needs to be more aggressive. But a player like Jimmy Butler, he finds value in other things that's not scoring. And in his case, the Heat, a lot of their offense is run through Bam. And that's why in this year he was second in the league in assists by big men.
Oh, man. Either way, for me, the Celtics pretty much.
Oh, man.
The Celtics pretty much though. They have star power, a lot more star power than the Heat in my opinion. And of course the Heat play suffocating defense. Pretty much every time the ball is dished out to somebody. We're just gonna word it that. Every time the ball is dished out to somebody though, someone's putting a hand in their face, and that's what's making it hard for the Celtics right now. But personally, I think that their top players, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, they all need to step up and they need to overcome that. Because from the beginning, when they put that piece together, they did not say, let's make it to the playoffs and let's make a deep run, but then fail. Nobody expected that from them. They expected to go all the way, come out of the East. Nobody expected the Bucks to go down, but they need to take advantage now and take out a Heat team led by Jimmy Butler. So that's my take on it.
I expected the Bucks to go down, okay?
He expected it. Nobody else really saw it.
I'll tell you this. This whole year, I've been saying I wanted Milwaukee, but I think about the Heat, their main points.
You have stage fright, y'all. It's all good.
Take off the glasses. Take a breather. Take a breather.
Take off the glasses. We're
All
gonna
right,
transition to the next series.
let's talk about what is it? Game 4. What are your thoughts? What are your predictions? What's gonna happen?
Pretty much for me, Game 4, I expect the Celtics to come out the same way. They got a little bit of rest. Of course, the Heat did as well. They need to pick up on what they left off on Game 3, except the last quarter, because everything else was terrible. But pick up on what they left off. They're going to win 112 to 102.
112 to 102.
Yes.
All right. That's you?
Game 3, I think Jimmy Butler's had enough, or coming into Game 4 from Game 3, Jimmy Butler's had enough time to think. I think you're going to see him come out in the beginning, be more aggressive. Miami can't get in a double-digit deficit again at half like they've been doing. I think Jimmy Butler's going to come out, be more aggressive. I think you're going to see a big game from Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. I got Miami 105 to 94.
Jimmy Butler has under 20 points. They're losing. Saying that off rip. That's it.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Let's talk about the next series. Lakers versus Nuggets. Not much to say about that. Lakers are up 2. Their third game is tonight. What do you guys think about that series?
I'm going to start off. Personally, I don't see it being any competition. Of course, it's going to be competition, but I don't see the Nuggets having anything to stop them.
So you don't see the Nuggets coming back at all?
I don't see them coming back at all.
Not even for one game?
Not even for one game.
So you think they're getting swept?
I think they're getting swept. Personally, I think they're getting swept. They can come back. I'm not saying they can't, but if you look at Game 2 actually, sorry, Game 3 is tonight. If you look at Game 2, the Nuggets played a pretty good game. They kept themselves within distance, 10 points. When you look at all the other games, they fell back 20 points, and then somehow, some way, the other team let their foot off the gas, Clippers, and they came back. I don't see the Lakers doing that. Even with that 10-foot cushion, they did get crunched down, and the Nuggets took the lead late, but even in a game like that, the Lakers still pulled through. So I still got the Lakers taking this one, Game 3 tonight. I'm going to say 105 to 90, and they're just ultimately going to take over the series. So.
Is you?
Unlike Josh, I'll give Denver a little bit more respect. I think they showed you what they're made of when they did beat the Clippers. That's a whole different debate. I don't think the Clippers were mentally in on it, but you definitely saw the mental strength of Denver coming back 3-1 for the second time in this postseason. I'll say this. If Anthony, obviously that was a very important shot by Anthony Davis, an incredible shot. I think Jokic, I know Jamal Murray's been hot. Jokic almost rolled that team to victory. I know almost doesn't count, but Jokic has to be their best player. I think he's been their best player all year. I think Jokic proved that no matter who you put on him,
sorry guys, the meal guys is like delivering meals. So.
No one you put on him, you can't stop him. I think even on that last possession before Anthony Davis hit that shot, you saw that they put Anthony Davis on Jokic, and Jokic was still able to back him down, put him in the post, and still hit a hook shot over him. So you got to give Jokic credit. He did. He's a young player, and he tried to will his team to victory. And you got to tip your hat off to AD. First of all, on that play, what was Plumlee doing? They literally put Plumlee in the game. They had Jokic guarding the inbound. And here's the problem with the NBA. They try to switch everything, and for some reason, Plumlee in his mind, LeBron was even setting a screen to
Plumlee
switch.
didn't want nothing. He didn't want nothing.
He didn't want to guard. I really feel like he wasn't ready to guard it. He wasn't ready.
He just stood behind LeBron and pointed, hoping that someone was going to guard him.
He was telling Grant to switch. I mean, look, okay, I understand that they probably talked in the huddle. They're going to switch if LeBron sets a screen. LeBron stood there and did nothing. And Plumlee just ran right to him and yelled at Grant to contest. And I mean, Jokic still tried to contest it, but AD hit an incredible shot. So now you got the Lakers up 2-1, or Lakers up 2-0. I think tonight, I think Denver will bounce back. I think you're gonna need a big game from Michael Porter Jr. And I was thinking this when he talked all that they need to get more players involved to beat the Clippers. That game, he hit the biggest shot. He had 3 points that game, and I think he's that piece that can push them over the top. And I think he really needs to have a big game tonight.
He was their third leading scorer with 15 points in game 2, which is exactly what they need. They just need some type of outing because no one else was in double digits. Just like he said, though, LeBron James is an X factor. That's why I think personally that they're not even going to pull a game. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, though. They do have talent. They do have the mental strength. They do. I agree with him. They do have the mental strength. I just don't see them pulling out a game.
So are you giving them a game, is it? Are you going to give them at least one?
I'm giving Denver 2.
You giving
I really think Denver can win 2 games.
So Lakers in 6?
Lakers in 6.
I got Lakers in 4. But like I said, LeBron James is the X factor. LeBron James is leading that team along with Anthony Davis, a top 5 player in the league. And that's just what the Clippers didn't have. The Clippers had a good team, but they just expected to ride their way all the way up to the conference finals and play the Lakers, and they didn't want to. You're up 3-1 on a team. There's no way you should be losing that. There's no way you should be losing that series, especially to the Denver Nuggets, which they have young and upcoming stars, but not a superstar on the team yet. Jokic is a phenomenal player. But
you don't think Jokic is a superstar?
He's not a superstar. He's not playing like it. He played 30. He put up 30 points in game 2, but that was a very quiet 30 points, and you know it as well because Dwight Howard.
That last 2 at the end was not quiet.
Dwight Howard was in his face, in his grill all game. It took him to the 4th quarter.
First off, Dwight Howard, he's just being a role player. What role players try to do? He's trying
exactly what the Heat
He's
have.
trying to be fit.
That's what the Heat have. Role players. The Heat have role players that are playing well. Dwight Howard's playing well. You can't get mad at that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Dwight Howard's role, he's coming in, he's trying to be physical. And I'm not going to lie, I think it's bothering Jokic. I'm not going to say his 30 points were quiet because they needed every single ounce of
They needed it for sure. But 30 points and they still ended up losing. I mean, I know Jokic is a phenomenal player, but is his team going to carry his team over the Lakers? They're not. They're not ready for it. Yes, they made it this far. This is the farthest they've made. No, last year. Last year they made it to the conference finals, correct?
Who?
The Nuggets. They made it to the conference finals?
No.
They didn't even make it?
No.
So this is the farthest that team has made it.
Yes. Last year
Exactly. They don't have the experience for it. I don't see them tackling that. I'm not saying that Jokic can't carry that team eventually, but he's not going to be able to carry it alone now.
Last year they lost Game 7 to Denver. Game 7 to Portland. Portland went against the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. I got a question for you, Josh. Where do you think Nikola Jokic ranks right now in top centers in the NBA?
Top centers? Oh, he's definitely one of the top centers. But as far as being a superstar that can carry your team, he's just not that type of player.
What rank would you give him right now in top centers in the NBA?
It's definitely top 3. Top 3. Definitely top 3. I'm not going to say who's 1, 2, and 3, but he's definitely top 3.
I'll make the argument that I think he's number 1. I really do.
Offensively, he could be number 1.
Okay.
He doesn't have the defense to be number 1, though.
And maybe that's where they need help. I'll say this, Anthony Davis has been able to get off in the series, so I really do think they need to do something on the defensive end. Jeremy Grant, he's a good defender. I don't think he's big enough to guard AD or LeBron for that matter. They put Millsap on AD and they keep switching those two. So, I mean, I guess they're interchangeable, but at the end of the day, you're not going to stop those 2 players.
We'll see tonight, though. I mean, they came back 3-1, but had they come back 3-0, hasn't happened yet. So
what is your prediction for tonight's game?
Tonight, I got Denver 117, 113. I'll give it a 4-point game. I think Denver. I think Jokic is going to be clutch down the stretch. I think if they put AD on him, he's going to be able to post him up a little bit, and I think they'll win by 4.
Alright.
And something that's not on our list, but I want to bring up. We all know MVP. Who won it?
That's a whole other debate.
At least Gray's over it. At least.
Obviously, Giannis was the winner. He was a clear-cut winner based off the stats that were going on. If the season was still
opposed
to LeBron. LeBron, you can't disregard what he was doing. Obviously, there's a lot of ifs. If the season was pursuing LeBron, it was tilting in his favor. It definitely was. For two of the last 3 games right before COVID hit, he beat head-to-head Kawhi, and he beat head-to-head Giannis, holding on to whatever he had, and they got the double with him. So I think it was tilting in his favor. If the season continued, him doing what he's doing at the age of 35, man, nobody else could have been doing that. So.
And he got, was it 16 votes out of 101?
16 votes out of 101, which is
as he
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
As he
That's
should've.
ridiculous. That is just ridiculous.
Here's my thing. I will say this. Giannis, I think he should have been the MVP. I think that was right. And I thought it was pretty clear in my eyes. Why do we keep saying he's 35 years old and he's doing this good? To me, that shouldn't even factor in. It's just looking at him on the court, what they're doing. I think, are you more upset? Okay, if LeBron would have won it, would you have been more upset that Giannis didn't win it? Or are you more upset that LeBron didn't win it now? Because I think if you rob Giannis, that's more of a robbery than robbing LeBron.
And I wouldn't rob Giannis. Like I said, Giannis clear-cut won it with how everything turned out. But if the season pursued, it was tilted in LeBron's favor, and he was taking over the league.
So if COVID wasn't a factor, LeBron would have been MVP.
That's my take. If
Do you
COVID wasn't a
think
factor,
that?
if the season continued, because we all know the Lakers were rolling, no one was beating the Lakers, and Giannis and Kawhi couldn't even beat them.
So do you think that if COVID wasn't a thing, LeBron would have been clear-cut MVP?
I don't think he would have been clear cut. I think it definitely would have been closer. I'll say this. Right before, I don't know if you guys remember, right before the pandemic hit, that's where Giannis actually went down with the ankle injury. If I remember correctly, I think it was at the end of that Lakers game that he did come down with the injury. But
I'm not too sure.
if I wouldn't say it was tilting in LeBron's favor, I think he was gaining momentum, but that doesn't mean it was in his favor.
But we all know though, the fact that it's a regular season MVP, we all have our problems with that too, because obviously we see what Giannis does year in, year out in the playoffs. He puts up the stats, he puts up the points, but if it doesn't lead to winning, what does it matter?
So do you think if the Lakers make it all the way, do you think LeBron's getting Finals MVP?
Right now, Anthony Davis is playing a key factor in this series. He's been playing a key factor in all the series as well. We just ultimately have to see who they're going up against. And you already know, LeBron turns it up a level each. So we'll see what happens. But all I know is if regular season was out the window, and if regular season is out the window, and we're going right now, who's the MVP of the playoffs? Who are you taking other than LeBron? You're not taking Jimmy Buckets. You're not for sure.
No, I just might. I mean,
Jimmy Buckets with 17 points. You're not taking that one.
I mean, Giannis did go into the Heat. I think that just showed how good of a team I think the Heat really are. That we did take that series. What do you think would be a better?
Well, they did lose a game without Giannis.
What was
They did lose a game without Giannis.
They won a game without Giannis as well in the Heat game. You take the Giannis off of the team, and yet they won a game.
Well,
against
that game that they won, Giannis had 19 in the first half, and that's why he got injured in the second quarter. So I mean, technically he did play,
but he didn't play for 3 quarters, and they get a dub. They get a dub. I mean, you take LeBron off the Lakers for a whole game.
I think the Heat did.
Lakers don't stand a chance.
I think what the Heat did is exactly what the Clippers did in the Denver series. I think once they saw Giannis go down, they took their foot off the gas, and they even admitted it. And I even think the game that they closed it out, Game 5, I don't think they came out as sharp as they could have been. But I think once the series against Boston started, right where that story came out, or right where that narrative comes out that they're the underdog, that Boston has Kemba, Jaylen Brown, and Tatum, that the Heat don't have enough scoring. That's when you saw the Heat. They came out with, especially in the second half, because they did go down in the beginning, but that's where you saw them show that the team that they really think that they are and the team that they can be. So, I was going to ask you guys, what do you think would be a better compelling finals matchup then?
My matchup for the finals is going to be the Lakers and the Celtics, of course. I'm taking the Celtics.
That would be a classic.
That would be a classic.
would
After
bring
what
it
Jason
back.
Tatum did against LeBron, what was it, 2018?
2017.
2017, the Cavs against the Celtics after that series. That went to Game 7, and that was amazing. And that's when Jason Tatum was an emerging star. So,
And now he is a star.
Yeah, so
He has experience. He's been playing for a few years, so
you got to
they
hang out
have
with
a
his
good team. The Celtics have a good team to
I-
like it. So
I think a very underrated storyline would be LeBron going against Pat Riley. And just that narrative going into the series. I know Pat Riley, he even had a press conference right when LeBron left. The first thing he said, let's get this over with, I'm pissed. Ever since LeBron left, the way that whole thing went down, I think that'd be interesting. LeBron going against his old team. And I think the whole Jimmy Butler dynamic, you see the big difference in Miami and Philly. Literally this year when Jimmy Butler picked the Heat, everyone was saying they'll be lucky if they're in the 8th seed. They said 8 or 7 seed was their ceiling. I always thought their ceiling was top 4. They ended up in the 5th seed because they lost last game to Indiana. But you see the difference. And Jimmy Butler has never been the best scorer. And this year he actually shot his worst three-point percentage. He shot 24% from 3. He struggled with his shot, but he never struggled with his confidence. And I think his confidence that he has in this team, especially in his other players, I really think that would be a better matchup. I think it would be a very interesting storyline, Pat Riley against LeBron.
So what are you trying to say? Who do you have in the finals?
I have I have the Lakers against the Heat.
Okay. You have the Lakers and the Celtics.
Lakers and Celtics. Either way, don't care about the matchup. Don't care about who's in it. LeBron getting his 4th ring.
All right. Let's move on to the next topic. We got NFL injuries this past Sunday. A lot of injuries happened. Too many to count, really. Josh, you take it over.
Specifically, we have 7 torn ACLs this past weekend, which is just terrible. Personally, I've torn my ACL. I know about the recovery process. Of course, they got all that money and stuff, and they have trainers. They'll be fine, but tearing an ACL and being out for a whole season is definitely detrimental. Most of the notable names, we got Nick Bosa tearing his ACL for the 49ers. Saquon Barkley, that hurts. He tore his ACL as well. We got Cortland Sutton. He tore his ACL for the Denver Broncos.
That hurts. He was on my fantasy team.
Tavon Young, the cornerback for the Ravens, he tore his ACL as well. Along with Solomon Thomas, another defensive lineman on the Nick Bosa, tearing his ACL. And then other notable injuries, you got Malik Hooker tearing his Achilles, Paris Campbell with a knee sprain. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Jimmy G with a high ankle sprain. We got McCaffrey with the ankle sprain. He's going to be out for like 4 to 6 weeks. And Raheem Mostert sprained his MCL. Another player for the 49ers. This definitely hurts all of the teams. It hurts all of our fantasy teams. So we definitely have to go switch things up, man. It sucks. There's never this much injuries at the end of a season. At the end of a week. Nevertheless, at the end of a season. And we have 4 important injuries for the 49ers. So it's crazy. As a Giants fan, obviously, we're not going anywhere, definitely. But without Saquon, that even makes it worse. Worse to watch. We're going to see what happens because that was just terrible.
Yeah. For me, I think a very underrated part of this is how much of the injuries being attributed is to the fact that there was no preseason. The first preseason is usually 4 games. The first 4 games of this year, this should be their preseason. And they're coming out playing full force, playing meaningful games. I just don't know how much preparation these players really had in time to save themselves from injuries. I think when I read the Christian McCaffrey one, this is how bad of a week it was. I saw that he was out for several weeks, and I thought that was good news because the way everything was going, everyone's coming out for a whole year. So hopefully these players, like Josh said, they got a long recovery ahead of them, but they do got the money and they do got the resources to be able to come back at full strength. I really think they'll be back. But I wanted to ask Josh, who do you think's a more important miss? Do you think Saquon for the Giants or do you think Nick Bosa for the San Francisco defense?
Putting bias aside, Nick Bosa is a phenomenal player, and he's one of the best players on their team, but I don't think he is the most important player on his team. Whereas Saquon Barkley, he's our whole franchise right there. That's our franchise player. Like I said, the Giants aren't going anywhere, of course, but you never know. The NFC least sucks. Everybody sucks in the NFC East, so you never know. We could have racked up a couple wins.
How about them Cowboys, man? Come on,
we ain't got to talk about the Cowboys. We can save that for another day, but the Giants, they probably could have had a chance. You pull a run down the end of the season, man. In the NFC East, you never know. Without Saquon, we're definitely not doing anything like that. If we do, I would be surprised. We just picked up Devontae Freeman today, so that could be something. But yeah, my take is Saquon Barkley. Nick Bosa is phenomenal. Nick Bosa, they will miss him because he is their number 1 pass rusher on that team. But yeah, I still gotta take Saquon.
I agree. I think Saquon. Josh is really high on Daniel Jones. I really don't see him that high. I really think their offense is centered around Saquon. Without him there, I don't think they were gonna win their division. But even without him, that's just a really big blow.
We can't recover from that. There's just no possible way to recover from that. We needed a big year from him, especially getting hurt last year. Nobody was high on Daniel Jones to begin with, not just Azeel. Nobody was anyways, and look where he is now. I think he'll turn some heads definitely this season, but either way, we're not going to be doing nothing. But yeah, putting Nick Bosa and Saquon Barkley aside, it still sucks for the rest of the players. I hope they recover fast, and even the people that are out for weeks is definitely going to be detrimental to the team. But 2020, man, we got to be ready for everything at this point.
So with these big injuries for the 49ers and the Giants, who do you think's taking that game?
I'm going to throw some bias in there. I'm going to say the Giants can't pull through. A lot of key players are hurt. Along with all the players that got hurt this week, Richard Sherman's also on IR. He's not going to be playing in the game. Jimmy G, he's day-to-day, but a high ankle sprain for a quarterback that likes to do bootlegs, play action. You don't know if he's going to be able to play. And Kittle also didn't play against the Jets. I'm not too sure if he's going to come back or not. That's so many injuries to overcome. Of course, we have some injuries as well, but It's to our star player, but I think Danny Dumbbells will pull through, and we're going to take the game.
For that, I definitely think you're going to see San Francisco run more with McKinnon. I think Kittle, they did not need him for the Jets. I really think if it was an important game, Kittle would have came out. I think you'll definitely see him play against the Giants. I don't think the Giants are going to be that much of competition, but I got San Francisco that game, even if Jimmy G doesn't play.
All right, and moving on to the next topic, we got some key matchups for this weekend. We got the first one, Cowboys and Seahawks. What do you guys think about that game?
Oh, man. Talking about the Cowboys.
Cowboys coming up no matter what.
I'm taking the Seahawks. The Cowboys are sitting at 1-1. The Seahawks are sitting at 2-0. The Seahawks just have a strong defense, a strong offense. They're well coached. They know how to get things done, unlike the Falcons. And if you just look at the Cowboys right now, week 1, they lost to a good Rams team, but, Cowboys fans were not expecting to lose to the Rams. Even the Falcons, they were down bad by the Falcons with too many mistakes. I'll give the Cowboys their credit. They did come back. They did roar back with their offense. But the defense thing of 39 points is not something to just throw to the side. And then also, they won off of an extremely lucky onside kick because I don't know what coach tells them. Of course, some onside kick teams are told, hey, the hands team, let it roll 10 and then touch it. Because once the ball is rolling 10 yards, the kicking team cannot touch it. But once the receiving team lays a finger, then the ball is live and someone can fall on it. But at that point, they were just all looking at it and shuffling with it. And the moment it crossed 10, the Cowboys player jumped on it. Nobody's laying a hat on each other. No one's hitting each other. They were just all watching the ball, and that's just terrible. That's terrible coaching. Dan Quinn should be gone ever since he blew the Super Bowl lead. I don't know why he's still there. So now this is the second lead they've blown. So yeah, I guess a good Seahawks team. I don't see the Cowboys pulling through. They will make it competitive. It will be a good game. But ultimately, Russell Wilson, he's been playing phenomenal. He's going to take over that game. And if Russell Wilson has ball in his hands with 2 minutes left, I got money on the Seahawks.
Now let's talk about that real quick because I remember we had a conversation about Russell Wilson, the MVP. What do you think about that so far in the season?
So far, he's definitely the MVP candidate. If he keeps going on the terror that he's going on, I mean, if you look at what he's doing against everybody, he has 9 touchdowns right now and only 11 incompletions against the Falcons, which they still had to put up a lot of points because that Falcons offense is still putting up a lot of points. And also a good Patriots team that everyone's so high on because of Cam Newton and that defense because of Bill Belichick. And he went there and still beat them. Put up 5 passing touchdowns against a almost number 1 top defense last year. So my take is Russell Wilson, as long as he keeps going on the way he's going. And no matter what team he faces, he still shines in those moments. So I got Russell.
This matchup, I'm taking the Cowboys. Hear me out. Lucky, not lucky, I don't know. I don't care. I just know it's going to jumpstart this team. You saw Dak Prescott with that field goal in, and you saw how hyped he got. I think something that is not being talked about that happened in the Seahawks-Patriots game. I think Cam Newton had a really good game, by the way. But Jamal Adams, he had a really good game. But you saw him get exposed by Julian Edelman. And did he not get exposed in the secondary back there? Julian got behind him twice, and Julian's 34, and he's a little beat up, and I love Julian Edelman, but if you're going to let Julian Edelman do that to you, I don't know what's going to happen if these Cowboys receivers get behind him on very key plays. In this matchup, I'll actually take Dak over Russell, and that's just this matchup. I think Russell Wilson's fabulous. I think he's probably been the best quarterback this year in 2 weeks. This matchup, I think Dak is going to come out on fire. I think you're going to see a big game from CeeDee Lamb. I just got the Cowboys, man.
No matter what, man, you got Dak. Of course, he's gonna do what he's gonna do. He's been doing these amount of yards, these amount of touchdowns, of course. But when it comes down to paying the quarterback, and they don't even trust him to pay him and give him a contract, man, you already know something underlying is there. And at the end of the day, it's not just about Dak and Russell. Dak is going against the Seahawks defense. Russell's going against the Cowboys defense, who last week they just put up 39 points on them. So I still got Russell. So that's what's gonna go down for me.
All right, and another game we have picked out is Sunday Night Football, Packers versus Saints. What do you guys think about that? You can take that one.
That's a very interesting game coming out. I think yesterday night you saw Drew Brees. He kind of struggled a little bit. Derek Carr, by the way, he had a good game. But speaking about the Packers, speaking about good games, Aaron Jones, man, Aaron Jones. I know week 1, Aaron Rodgers had he came out. He had a vintage performance. Yes. Yesterday, Aaron Rodgers was still very good. I think you're seeing that Aaron Jones is probably the best Aaron on their team, and I really he might have a good game again. Why is that so funny?
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Did you not see him Did you not see him yesterday?
We don't go based off of one performance.
No, it's not just off of one
we
performance.
don't go off of one performance, but
I don't know, man. Last year, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he looked like he was slipping a little bit. Like I said, he had a good week 1. Yeah, he had a really good week 1. Yesterday, he still had a good game. But I think Aaron Jones, he showed how explosive he really is. I know Devontae Adams, he's questionable right now, but we'll see what happens Sunday. But I'll take the Packers over the Saints. I think the Saints, they're having a little bit of problems right now. I think I'll take Aaron Rodgers that game.
Likewise, I take the Packers over the Saints. Saints, nobody expected them to lose to the Raiders. I definitely didn't see it, other than the Raiders fans. And the Raiders just look more hungry. Without Michael Thomas, Drew Brees definitely struggled. If he doesn't play against the Packers, against that defense, they still have probably a top 10 defense in the league. He's going to be in for a tough one, and I don't see him pulling through. If he couldn't pull through against Raiders defense, I don't see him pulling through against Packers defense. As far as Aaron Jones, yes, he's phenomenal. Yes, he is good, but at the end of the day, he could have all those stats. It's going to come down to Aaron Rodgers making those throws, and Aaron Rodgers will make those throws. He has, and he will. He's still, as old as he is, he's still up there in age. They just drafted another quarterback, which they might think is the new franchise quarterback. He's still out there throwing dots, throwing lasers, on the run. I don't see him slowing down. Even after a year where Aaron Rodgers looks like he's slipping, they still went 13-3. Only lost 3 games, and yes, they got dominated by the 49ers, but who didn't last year? I don't know who didn't. So the Chiefs didn't. Aaron Rodgers, though. Aaron Rodgers. He'll pull through, and I got him over the Saints.
And you talk about the Chiefs, and that's our third matchup for Monday Night Football. We have the Chiefs versus the Ravens.
It's always a good one.
That's
always
what
a
you guys
good
think
game.
about
that?
Nasty.
2 young quarterbacks right there coming up.
Personally, I want the Ravens to pull through, and I'm going to say the Ravens do pull through. They've just been adding more and more pieces to their team, picking up Calais Campbell, and that defense is still firing on all cylinders like they were last year. Obviously, they lost Earl Thomas, but it doesn't look like it's slowing them down right now. I got the Ravens over the Chiefs. Even that high-powered offense last week, they were slowed down, and that was because of the pressure that the Chargers were applying to them. So as long as the Ravens could follow the game plan that the Chargers had, knock Mahomes down a little bit, throw him off his course, because he is a good quarterback and he makes phenomenal plays. He's going to roll out of the pocket, throw across the field. He's going to do all those things like that. But you got to keep your hand in the dirt, keep chasing after him, make him fight for everything that he wants to gain. And I think ultimately the Ravens can come through. If they don't, I think the key matchup why they won't is Lamar Jackson against that defense. Lamar Jackson, he's been playing well. He had an MVP season last year. He's still playing good this season. But he just needs to have a come-out game that I can do this against the top team in the AFC, the top team in the NFL. The top picks in the AFC, 2 of them are the Ravens and the Chiefs. And this is going to be a crazy game. It always was last year and the year before that. I already know it's going to come down to a crazy ending. But I got the Ravens winning this one because of their defense.
I think Lamar's going to have a good game. I really expect Marquise Brown to he's going to have a big game too. Even if they both have big games, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes over Lamar in this game. I think, how does a team that's so loaded on offense, how do they come into the draft and draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire? And you saw how beautifully he fits in that offense. If you try to stop Mahomes from throwing it, he could just give it to Helaire and he'll just take off. I think the Chiefs are going to pull through. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think you're going to see fireworks. You're going to see Mahomes and Lamar dueling back and forth. I really hope it's a high-scoring game and that it's close though in the fourth quarter. And you can see which quarterback really shows their strength going into the fourth to win it.
Still, 2 great teams. Not too much you can say negatively on either team. But like I said, ultimately, I think it's going to come down to Lamar and that Chiefs defense. And by the end of the game, if Mahomes has the ball in his hands, man, that's a scary sight for any opposing team. But, yeah.
What's your final got for the game?
I got the Chiefs. What's your final score?
It's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to say 27-30. Ravens.
Dang, I was going even high scoring. I think it's gonna be 48 to 45.
All right.
48,
There's some defense in this. This isn't
Nah,
the
no one
Falcons and
wants
the
to hear about
Cowboys.
defense. No one wants
This
to hear
isn't the
about
Falcons and the
defense.
Cowboys.
Nah,
There's gonna be some defense in this one.
No one wants to hear about defense this one. It's gonna be a quarterback duel. If I want a quarterback duel, I want some fireworks going into
All
it.
right, I hope you stick to that. See you next week.
Well, we will see you next week. And I think that about wraps it up for the show. I think we talked about all we could talk about this week. So we will see you guys next week. If you guys stop by to watch this video, we want to thank you guys. Hit it a like if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you want to join our journey and watch us do a whole bunch of more of these videos. And leave a comment down below if you want to see, put in your input, what do you want to see next. So I think that's it.
Yeah, that wraps it up. I pretty much just want to shout us out. Follow our Instagrams, but ultimately follow Balls in Your Face, the podcast.
Balls in our face.
Yeah. Balls in Your Face, the podcast. Go ahead and follow that IG. We got our IGs in the link. Also, you want to follow our Twitter, Balls in Your Face, the podcast.
Balls in your face, everything.
And just make sure you subscribe, like, comment what you want to see us talk about. We're going to be dropping these weekly. This is our first time doing this.
If it's a little bad,
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we look a little shy, I mean, we're really nervous, but
Yeah.
I feel like the more we get into it, you're gonna see us loosen up. If we stutter here and there, I mean, we're only human, we're stupid, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
Let us know how we did, though. Let us know what
Yeah.
we did. Tell us what you want to
Make
talk
sure
about.
if you didn't like the
positive,
video, put thumbs
negatives.
down, man. We don't care.
Yeah.
We need this,
We want to improve. We want
Well-
to get big. We just want to have fun and just talk about what we talk about all the
Yeah,
time.
man, we
Because
talk
if you
about
see
this
the
all the time.
arguments we talk about, man.
We will get better. That's my main point. I think we will.
And
get
next week
better.
we'll be louder, we'll be funnier, we'll have more stuff to come. And if you guys want to see that, make sure you hit the bell, make sure you hit the subscribe button, do all of that. Just stay in touch with us because
Yeah.
we're gonna keep dropping stuff on our Instagram. We drop scores almost every night, especially football scores, basketball scores. And once the postseason comes up for baseball, we're gonna be talking about baseball, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna do it, and we hope you guys enjoy it because we're making these videos for you. So
Shout out to everyone already on the Instagram. Y'all are rocking. Y'all are goats. Thank you for following. Let's just stick with us, man. Let's go.
yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.